everybody, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So this is a show where here on ComicPOP, if you are unfamiliar with the show because we've been away for a while, we take comics from the past week, recap them, review them, and let you know what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations for books that are coming out this week we think you should pick up. So we've been away. We did a big con down in Philadelphia, and we had an amazing time. In fact, if you want to see some of the highlights from that, more importantly, the ComicPOP-centric highlights, stay tuned tonight/tomorrow for a new video that's coming out that will feature that. Let's give you a little bit of a rundown of what the show is. So we're going to do what I described. If you are live and watching the show here, you are of the lucky few who watch the show as it's happening, as the magic's being cast, so to speak. And so we are going to be participating with you guys in a conversation that will be going through these super chats. And the reason why we do that is because I've heard some discussion about it, and I wanted to kind of curtail any concerns that might have been happening. In order to keep the conversation rolling, and in order to keep the reviews going, in order to keep the show as concise as possible, and by concise we mean in ComicPOP terms about an hour.
Yeah.
We have to limit the amount of interaction we can do, just only because otherwise it's just going to be a show of Q&A. We've done Q&A live shows before, and it's incredible, and we try to have those as frequently as possible so that people who do want to interact with us more regularly can do so on a more frequent basis. But on this kind of show, you're here for the content, so let's try to keep it from there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth between reviews and recaps, and also talking to you through the super chats.
Yes.
So let's jump into them.
Okay.
The first book I guess we could talk about today, because we're just going to do a whole rundown,
Go for it.
is Justice League number 7?
It's 8.
8, sorry. Yeah, the book is coming out in such alarming regularity that I'm actually kind of taken by how well it's doing, how well it's working in every respect. But yeah, Justice League number 8, which is covering my face now, but you'll see in a second. There it is.
Ooh.
Justice League number 8 is written by James Tynion IV with art by Mikkel Yannon.
Yeah.
It is a Legion of Doom check-in. I think that's what they're going to do for the foreseeable future.
What's going on with that?
Yeah, every so often we're going to take a book. We're going to stop. We're going to hit the brakes on whatever Justice League is doing and check in with the Legion of Doom.
Right. We're also going to give the other team a chance to.
Yeah, to really shine.
The main team to catch up or take a break.
That's true. Yeah. So in this one, it's basically just Lex Luthor talking to the Batman Who Laughs the entire time. There is some fun interplay between Cheetah and Black Manta.
Yeah.
If you thought that it was just a throwaway that these two team up and do stuff, you are mistaken.
That's right.
They are they murder a god and they do all kinds of crazy nonsense that has everything to do with their own schemes. Black Manta is implying that he something that Luthor has told him or will give him control over the ability to kill his enemies and take over the seas.
Yeah.
And so he and Cheetah and Cheetah's yeah, and I'm down. Because I don't know what her plan is.
But she wanted to know if he trusted him. She's like, do you trust him? Do you trust Luthor?
And he's like, no.
Well, no, but he was kind of just he's like, here's the
Trust is for stupid people.
He's like, I don't care. At the end of the day, he has something I want, and as long as I get what I want, that's it.
Exactly.
I don't care.
And that's totally Black Manta through and through. And so I just wanted to give you, whoa. Still working out the kinks there. Yeah, so it's just basically, I just want to give you a check-in on what Black Manta and Cheetah were doing, because, if Snyder / Tynion think it's important, then it probably is. So it's basically just, I gotta move over here. So basically just Luthor being like, I gotta ask the Batman Who Laughs for information. I thought I was gonna win in the last couple of issues.
Right.
And I didn't.
Right, which is weird because the last time we left him, he was talking to him already.
Yeah.
So I guess it's we went back a little bit.
Yes, because the last issue ended with him being like, okay, so explain to me everything.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, well, let's see what happens with that.
Well, it's not just that. Let's see where he's storing him. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
He kind of removed the mystery. I already know it's in there.
Right. It's Batman Who Laughs. It's in there.
I get it. You're just showing me all the steps, but you're also trying to make it seem like we don't know.
Right.
But we do know.
Well, it is two different writers who are working on it, so that could very well be.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, the Batman Who Laughs basically said, for me, this was the most decompressed of all the issues, where it's you could have fit 2 issues in this book. For the amount of talking that Luthor and Batman Who Laughs have, and for all the nothing that Batman Who Laughs says, at the end of the day, Batman Who Laughs says there is this new cosmic female character we're inventing for this event / story.
Yeah.
And she's coming from she may be like the reason why the Source Wall exists in the first place.
Right. We also get some explanation about the Starman.
That's right. That's true. Yeah, if you were excited about Starman, they give you a little bit of recap about that and tell you how like
his character is tied into the totality.
Right, exactly.
And time travel.
Which is kind of fun.
Time travel.
So yeah, at the end of the day, there's teases for what's to come. Luther's going to unleash the Batman Who Laughs, and Joker seems a little like put off by him.
Yeah.
Which is also odd because like he basically tried to kill him and Batman Metal.
Well, it then depends on which Joker it is, though. But yeah.
Oh my God, that's right.
But like, no, but I get that he's kind of put off by it because he's just kind of like, he's like, the whole point of me is that I'm the funny one. Batman's not the funny one. If Batman's the funny one, then what am I?
Right. If Batman is the scary clown monster of the DC universe, then what the hell am I doing here? Which is fair.
But like, and I can't be Batman because Batman's Batman.
Right. Yeah. I do like...
So something's got to give here.
Yeah, I really want to see, like, there being a thing between Joker and Batman Who Laughs. Like, but it seems to be just kind of, like, there for fun. Where Batman Who laughs, and Joker says, I hate that sound.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder what that means. Probably nothing. Like, I would like to see it go someplace, but I don't think it will.
Right. I guess my biggest issue with this issue was the art.
Yeah, Mikhail Yanin went from being one of my favorite, like, new Batman artists to one of my least... Like, every time I see his name, I go, oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it was just... Like, the inking was a little rough.
Yeah, it was a little rough.
The inking was rough. The colors, like, were, like, to begin with. And I don't know. Because without seeing the pencils, it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
There was some stuff that were, like... It was like, this is good. And then there were some other things I'm like, oof.
Yeah, not so much.
And I can't tell if it's just... it's because it's coming out so rapidly... Or what? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, like, he does manage to produce the same consistent work, like,
yeah,
what you see is what you get when you get Mikhail Yanin's art.
Yeah.
And that's good for DC, and it's why he keeps getting work, but it's also like, like, it's kind of like, but I don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just there was, I don't know, some panels did not have the same finish on them, and some pages were they just seemed like it was either an afterthought or something they had to go back and change. I don't know. Right. I don't know. All I know is I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Right.
It is what it is. It didn't really ruin anything for me. It was just kind of like, that's a shame.
Yeah.
It was really just, it's a shame.
I agree.
I don't know. That's it.
Yeah. As for that, my question is, do you recommend Justice League number 8?
I mean, I guess if you're on board for the series, yeah, you're probably gonna need some of the information in that.
Yeah, you will. But like at the end of the problem I have with decompression, if you're not familiar with decompression, it's basically like if you ever read a book from 20 years ago, you may notice that you get more story per issue. And at some point or another, like comic book publishers, particularly big two, realized that you could stretch like 1 or 2 issues into 6.
Right.
And that's called decompression. They just stretched out. Make the characters interact a little more. Give the artist an opportunity to do more double-page splashes, that kind of thing. And it's good and bad. It's good for them because it makes them more money, and it's bad for us because we get less story per issue, but we're still giving them more of our money.
Right.
But at the same time, you also have the opportunity to get more. You get more conversation, more interaction, more character moments. But I've noticed that's really not the case anymore. It's basically just like... You tell a story in 6 panels or 10 panels or 30 panels where 4 would have done just fine.
Right.
And that was very much the case in this. For me, like, was it cool to see the Batman Who Laughs like chained up in Luthor's secret bunker and he's like doing this conversation? Like, yeah, if Batman Who Laughs didn't already appear in some other story, that would have been a really big like surprise.
Yeah.
But on the same like token, it just felt like it was really like...
Yeah, it was. And again, like, don't mistake us talking about this like we didn't like the issue.
That was actually a fun issue.
I didn't enjoy the art. Like,
Yanin needs...
didn't like the art.
No,
I'm sorry.
Get ready for more because he's never going to leave. Like, because Mikhail Yanin can deliver consistent and like above average quality art on a consistent on that consistent basis, he'll be working until he dies.
Fine, like whatever. It's just he's never gonna be a favorite of mine.
No,
ever.
No, that's very true. Especially when he draws the Riddler. He doesn't appear in this issue, but I'm just saying that because war jokes and riddles, woof.
Okay.
But yeah, so I recommend it. I think it's fun, but like, if you're looking for something to skip, you could definitely skip this issue.
If you were looking for the Justice League, you were going to find it in this one, which is
They
fair
do
because they
appear
tell you on the cover, like, nah.
that they're not going to be in it, and I think that's actually deliberate, and that's cool. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, like, the Justice League do appear. Jean's in there.
Well, they're all in there for a second, and, like, that was actually the page where I was just like, ooh. Yeah. Like, it's because it's running, going through Starman's, like, path.
Right.
And, like, for some reason, Flash is, like, running, and it's, like, it's just weird. It was just, like, he needed something to do with him, and he didn't want him just standing there, so he did something.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
no, I hear you.
I don't know. I don't want to harp on it, because we've got so many other things to talk about.
There's so many more books.
But, yeah.
Yeah, so, at the end of the day, I guess, check it out.
Yeah.
If you want to. But if you don't, or if you're on the fence, don't bother. You want to take over? What's the next book you want to do? We've rather than do digitals, we have actual physical copies.
I know. I don't know what I want to do next.
We did a DC book. Do a Marvel book.
Okay.
Here, do this one.
Okay. So this actually was like a really expensive week for me this week. I was like, and this is one of those books where I was like, I am not keeping up with Infinity Wars. Or Warps, or whatever wars.
Don't.
Yeah. Infinity Wars at all.
Wait until it's over.
However, of course, because Doctor Strange crossed over into it, I have a basic idea.
Yeah, and Deodato drew a really great Doctor Strange.
Yeah, but not just that. Thanks to you, I have a better idea. But of course, they're doing the Infinity Warps, and so I'll put this over here. Doctor Strange, or not Doctor Strange, Soldier Supreme came out. A combination I would have never in a million years thought I would be interested in seeing. But of course it's Captain America, Doctor Strange. It's the first issue, I guess, of 2, I think, for this
I think
one.
The idea is they're doing 2.
Some of them are 2, some of them are going to be 3, I think, based on the checklist in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they're 2 for this one.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's silly fun, let's be honest. It's written by Jerry Dugan with art by Adam Kubert. They pulled out Adam Kubert for this, so it looks great. I like Adam Kubert's art. I like his style. It is, it's stylized. It has an illustrative quality. You've heard me use that term before, and this book definitely delivers on that. I'm not going to go into the details here because it's literally, what if Captain America was, instead of being Steve Rogers, he was Steven Rogers.
With a PH.
Yes, and like that, essentially. Is that what he is?
Yeah, I think, no, it's Stephen Strange with a PH and Steven Rogers with a P.
No, I meant it is that. Okay, yeah. It's Steven Rogers. Don't call him Steve. It's Steven.
Mm-mm.
And he joins the military during World War II, or wants to, and they promise to make him a super soldier, but the scientist behind it is also using magical arts, mystical arts, if you will, and comes up with this serum, this concoction, injects him. It's the whole thing. Like a German MP or military spy shows up and takes out a bunch of people, and then it turns out he's got powers, and it's really fun because you get to see him use the shield, but it's like an incantation. But it's an incantation, yeah. So it's like, ooh.
It's
clever.
Really clever, and it would be it feels like a well-written what if.
It is a well-written what if, and then we just get to see him going through the war. They mash up a couple of other characters. Instead of it being whatchamacallit, where
I think it's still the Winter Soldier.
No, instead of Dum Dum Dugan, it's Dum Dum Fury. And instead of it being Wong, it's Bucky Wong, his old pal, and so he becomes the Winter Soldier, but in a different way. And that's where I was like, that's an interesting concept. Instead of him falling, you don't know what happens. They literally a shell casing comes down on he and Steven, and Wong's obliterated. Right. He's just gone, and Dum Dum's like, hey, come on, we got to get out of here. And he's just like, leave me alone, leave me to my work, and he brings his spirit back, his ghost, right? Essentially what they're doing with the Basset Hound, which I can never remember the name of.
I don't remember, but the chat will remind us.
Yes, they will, absolutely. But they utilize that tactic with this, and he becomes the Winter Soldier in a sense. He's this ghost.
Yes, he's an actual.
I'm
ghost.
That's cool.
It's a cool idea.
Instead of it being an urban legend about the Winter Soldier of the assassin, it becomes this urban legend that's connected instead to mythology and the paranormal, where it's the Winter Soldier. And they of course combine Dormammu and Red Skull.
Yep.
Into
Skullmammu.
No. What's funny? I did not care for his name, which I so didn't even pay attention to it because Dormammu Red.
That sucks.
I was like, this sucks.
That sucks as much as Red Onslaught.
Yeah, it's just so
unoriginal, just uninspired. Terrible idea.
Right? And yes, for those who are asking, he does appear to be Chinese.
Yeah. By the way, the Basset Hound's name is Bat.
Thank you. I was like, it's a short.
I remember it being
short.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they end up like going to the Dark Dimension at the end of this. So I look forward to seeing where they go with this. It's funny. Like it's a weird mashup of their origins because it really doesn't involve any of Strange's origins at all. It's not like he becomes battered and broken and then they turn him into that. They just use Steve Rogers' origins, throw magic in there, him magic. And there you go, and that's it. And it's weird. I'm enjoying it, but like, here's the thing: if you're not like,
if you think this concept is stupid,
it's not gonna win you over. It's not. It's just at the end of the day, like if you're not into this kind of mashup thing, you're not gonna be into it. And I don't encourage you to purchase it because, like, just because I'm enjoying it and having a good time,
don't buy it.
Doesn't mean like, oh, you better go out and get it. But like, if you like Doctor Strange or like you're interested in like seeing like this like World War II era like, you know, Steve Rogers with magic kind of thing, then it's worth a pickup because I think the art's really nicely done. I think it really fits the story, and Jerry Dugan does a nice job. Nice job.
You know what I think about these Infinity Warp things? I want to believe that it comes from a place of originality and this desire to do something cool.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be fun if after these warps, when they get unraveled, their proximity alters their character slightly, or at least their direction of their stories, where like Steve wants to do more, not that he wants to get into magic, but the Steve Rogers wants to tackle more occult problems.
Right.
That he's like, you know, Steven, you open up this window for me, and I see that like I've been looking kind of too like inward. I've been looking too like at domestic problems. Right. I should be looking everywhere for problems. And like just because the problems we are getting that you deal with are magic doesn't mean that I can't help.
Yeah.
And then that would really frustrate Steve, who's like, or Steven, who's like, what are you doing? Like, get out of my house.
Right.
I don't want to, I was too close to you when we were merged. I don't want to, but you know, and then like with Arachnite, Spider-Man and Moon Knight.
Yeah.
You're like Spider-Man being like, you know, I've been away from home too long. Like, I've been way too like obsessed with being like an Avenger and doing all these big grandiose things, and like we don't get to see too many great stories of Spider-Man like from the 90s of like skulking in a corner and catching a mugger,
right?
Or in his web, you know. But I mean, just making it so that Spider-Man's proximity to Moon Knight makes him a better vigilante again,
right.
or at least makes him more interested in being one. I'd like if that was where it went or where it came from, where they're like, we're gonna ground our characters, we're gonna like upset the apple cart a little bit, and we're gonna do it through organic storytelling. We're gonna start from here, and like a Marvel story should, it's like it goes in a linear fashion. That'd be amazing.
Oh, I agree. And I gotta tell you, there are a couple of these obviously I'm gonna be checking out. Let's be honest. Ghost Panther, I'm definitely gonna grab.
Yep. Weapon Hex. No doubt.
I'm just trash sometimes. just a trash.
Listen, they want you to buy these books. I don't think it's terrible.
I know.
I will say, I'm also kind of like, this kind of shows, I think Marvel is trying to prove that they think they don't need DC.
I guess because this made me think of the Amalgam.
It is Amalgam. It's literally just, you know what they were doing? They saw, I think they saw, because there's a big prevalence in Amalgam nostalgia lately that I've noticed. And I think that they were like, if we wanted to capitalize on that, why don't we just do our own and see if we even need a DC? Right.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. But yeah, so there you go. Do I recommend it? Sure. If you like Doctor Strange and you like this kind of cheesy, like, you know, hokey gimmick, go for it. Right? But if you don't, then
this ain't for you.
It's not for you, and that's okay. That's totally okay.
Somebody asked about Weapon Hex. It's X-23?
Yeah.
And Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
So it's magic gauntlets or you know, claws.
Yeah, literally I'm just picking up any of the books where they're taking a magic-based character or like mythical character and pairing him up with someone else.
Exactly. We've neglected to jump into Super Chat, so we're going to do that right now.
Let's
Dylan Graham, will you be at New York Comic Con? And would you know what Sarah Pacelli charges for a signature? Love Miles and would love to get her to sign my issues. I'll answer all those questions right off the bat. Yes, we'll be at New York Comic Con. Tiffany and I'll be there all 4 days.
Yes,
Ethan will be there Thursday and Friday. Ben will be there at least the first 3 days, if not all 4. We're not sure. So that should give you an idea. We're probably going to hook up a meet and greet on Friday. That seems to be the most popular day for everybody.
Really? Is that what it turned out?
Yeah.
Wow.
But if not, we'll do both. Like, we will do a meetup on Saturday as well. But, like, the official ComicPOP meetup will be on Friday.
Because on Saturday, you'll be missing Ethan.
Exactly. And we're trying to find somebody who has a booth that might be let us borrow it for, like, an hour so we can do signings. But so far, nil. So if you do know anybody who has a big booth on the main floor, let us know. We'd love to talk to them. As for Sarah Pacelli, she charges nothing for an autograph. So if you bring your entire Miles Morales collection, she may charge you. But if you bring, like, your 2 favorite issues, she'll charge you. She will give you nothing but a smile.
Yes.
And what a smile it'll be.
Exactly.
Denial saying, really enjoying Wade's run on Strange. He finally has Strange up his magic game.
It's denial.
I'm sorry, Denial.
Like, denial. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's not just River in Egypt anymore. Now it's a guy in our super chats. He finally has Strange up his magic game in an important way that I've been waiting for. Have you finished the last issue?
Yeah, I did. I'm going to be talking about that.
Great. So, yeah, he digs it. I like the idea of somebody who, like, remembers Doctor Strange and cares about him doing something with him. Yeah. More than Dennis Hopeless? Or...
I'm going to get into this because I'll have some pros and some cons. Pros and cons. They're in ComicPOP.
Artie Pavlov, lamest thing all week, Avengers Mountain on the North Pole. If you're referring to the Jason Aaron Avengers run, I quit the book. I can't read it anymore.
Oh, I have not.
Jake Stanley, love you guys. Thank you for the incredible content. The Max back issues was fantastic. Thank you so much for watching.
Max issues.
Max issues. By the way, if you have not checked it out, and because you're like, indie books, the Max is a fun episode. So check it out. Even if, I give me 5 minutes. You might get sucked into the conversation. And Artie Pavlov, Sal's being super optimistic, Infinity Warps, theme sandwich idea, lol.
He's wrote Infinity Raps.
Oh, raps?
Yeah.
I was just fixing it in my head.
You auto-corrected.
I did, I auto-corrected. Yeah, Infinity Raps. Man, I'm not a fan of Infinity Wars, though. That last issue, I was like, this is... Ugh. I'm not even going to get into it, because it came out 2 weeks ago. But that, fun. Neat idea. But yeah, so let's jump into the next book. This book that I want to talk about has been a long time coming, and I'm so glad that I didn't pick up a single tie-in for it. Wolverine came back to life in Return of the Wolverine, written by Charles Soule, with art by Steve McNiven. It is tremendous.
Really? Tremendous?
Tremendously great. Somebody was telling me, like, no, nobody was telling me. I was telling them how I loved the death of Wolverine. We were talking to Ben and Ethan. I was like, The Return of Wolverine is just as good as The Death of Wolverine. And they were like, we loved The Death of Wolverine. Because we all read it for Off the Rack back when we first started the channel. Oh. That's how long ago
we didn't all.
Wolverine died, was when we started the channel. And when, like, Off the Rack used to be a show with me, Ben, and Ethan.
Yeah.
Just wasting time. But yeah, like, this book is great. It basically, Wolverine's back. He wakes up in, like, a lab like he should. And he doesn't know who he is. He's back to being an amnesiac. But in this case, he's put on a holy quest to kill the person who basically brought him back to life. It's an evil mad scientist, of course, because why wouldn't it be?
Right.
And we reveal that, like, as Wolverine's, like, walking through the wreckage that he has wrought and that has been wrought in his wake, he is, like, visited by all the different versions of himself. And I don't mean like Infinity Warps or multiversal. I just mean like Wolverine's been a lot of things. He's been Eye Patch. He's been Weapon X. He's been like the hero, the Avenger, the X-Man, the solo character, the savage, the aristocratic little boy man, like child. He's been a lot of different things, and they're all kind of like locked up in his mind.
Okay.
And so the approach is that he is going to be kind of like every time that he needs to be a version of himself, he goes into his mind, kind of like in Dreamcatcher, like that power that guy has, and he unlocks a cage that has like a version of himself with his memories attached to it. So like when he needs, like someone's like, we need the hero, and so he goes into a cage and the first one he unlocks is like blue spandex Avengers Wolverine.
Okay.
He's like, let's go. And all he remembers is that much.
Right.
And, like, I don't know if I don't know how it works. If it's, like, does he have to unlock every single one? Do they have to go back in their cages when he's done? But I kind of dig this concept. It's a really neat visualization of, like, the patchwork quilt that is Wolverine.
Right.
Tons of action. Classic, like, Barry Windsor Smith-esque Wolverine art in here. Just so much really, really just totally cool, badass Wolverine stuff.
So, I'm sorry, when he unlocks the cages? Does it unlock the memories associated with that?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay.
But I don't know. So, you know.
Okay.
And we also get a cool new Wolverine costume, which is red and black.
Right, which, like, makes me think of other costumes.
Yes. It's supposed to, like, elicit that feeling of, like, something else, but something familiar.
Right.
And so I think it does.
Okay.
I think this book delivers. And it's a miniseries. It's forgivably short. I'm so on board.
Where are the fire claws?
He doesn't pop them until, like... He doesn't pop them. They're saying we're going to.
Okay.
But we don't see them really.
They're just regular claws.
They're just regular claws. They get hot later on.
Okay.
Like, and I think they can get hot because he wants to. I'm sure that's maybe it's affiliated with one of his memories, something like that.
He's channeling his rage.
Yeah, just his white hot rage.
Right. Maybe it has something to do with what happened in Thor.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to you talking about that. But yeah, I don't know, and I'm like, the other thing is, hot claws, dumb. That being said, I'm fine with it. I remember reading an interview with Charlie Soule where he was talking about the hot claws. And he goes, there's a story reason for them. They're going away.
Okay.
And I'm like, then there you go. Then no one can complain.
Well, I mean, I might still make fun of him a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Poke a little fun.
Right? Well, yeah, please, because you noticed something very interesting about the hot claws.
Well, yeah, we're looking at some old mangaverse.
Marvel mangaverse.
Marvel mangaverse, and on the back of one of them, I just butchered that name. Marvel mangaverse. On the back of one of them was like an older Wolverine. His energy claws. He's got one adamantium claw, one energy claw, and I'm just like, they did it first.
They look like hot claws.
They look like hot claws.
And C.B. Cebulski, now editor-in-chief of Marvel, was spearheading the Marvel mangaverse. So like maybe he's like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna put my little stamp on Wolverine now that I'm here. Make him hot claws like I did in the mangaverse. Like,
go for it. Or like maybe Soul was having a hard time with something. He's like, here's an idea for you. Mm-hmm. He's like, where'd you get that? I don't know. Don't worry.
It was an original idea. Don't worry about it. Don't remember anything I was working on back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's cool. And the hot claws, like I don't care. At the end of the day, like I don't care more than I enjoyed this issue. Right. So you win, Marvel. You got me.
Yeah, there you go.
And it doesn't refer to any of the bullshit from the tie-ins.
Okay.
So like, lol, you spent like probably $100 to read a bunch of bullshit.
Right, but unless some people really if some people really enjoy the mythos and those who are involved with Wolverine, then that's not a waste for them. Like if you dug that, it's up to you.
And there's a better tie-in. One of the tie-ins had like the New Avengers in there, and they also established that Laura Kinney has a mother.
Yes.
And that's cool. They did that. Someone did something cool with that one story.
Right.
So, hot claws. So jumping into the super chats before we move on.
Okay.
Denial, We're All God's Vomit, the new Predator, is a testament to that. Also, Saladinamide is writing a Miles, and I'm really excited for that. Yeah, me too,
nice.
Man. Yeah, the Predator is the worst.
We were not fans of it. I hate to be so negative because like there are people who are going to enjoy it, but I did not like it.
Nope.
Did not like it.
Yep, nope. Overly complicated mess full of nonsense and bullshit.
Just for me, like, here's the thing. I know we're always looking to do new things, and, like, people always want something new, and, like, sure, I love to hear new creative ideas, but you know what? Sometimes it's okay to just follow the formula. To just do a Predator story. To just follow the formula that we want to see.
So, I hear you. And AJ Firetree, thank you both so much for your time. Double thumbs up. Double thumbs up to you, AJ.
For your comment.
Yeah. So let's jump into it. The next story you want to do?
I don't know. Where do you want to go?
Let's go sad.
You're gonna go sad? So guys, Mr. Miracle number 11 came out this week. Of course, written by Tom King with art by Mitch.
I think it's Jared's or Garrett's.
Gerard's.
I've heard Jawin call them Gerard's. I don't think they're.
I've done that too because I'm not thinking, but there's no extra R in there, so.
Nope.
Anyway,
I've met him too, and I didn't ask him how to pronounce his name.
This is. Hopefully, I'm going to use this word correctly. This is the penultimate issue.
Yes, the second to last issue.
I looked that up.
Nice.
Here we go. I actually got this at my local comic book store.
Yeah. So if you don't want to be spoiled for this issue, go away.
Dudes, if you don't want to be spoiled, we'll like give you some sort of like, I don't know, but like
just leave for 2 minutes.
Yeah, just whatever. Because this issue, man, issue, I cannot wait for the next issue.
Yeah. We'll show you the We'll show you another cover when you're ready to.
I will absolutely spoil this. There's nothing I can do about this. I'm sorry. Just put your fingers in your ears, mute us for a second. Anyway, so in this book, the last issue, it turns out that the only way that Darkseid's ever going to give up the anti-life equation and pull out his troops from the war between the New Gods and those on Apocalypse is for Mr. Miracle to give up his son,
right,
Jake. And yeah, so
it's an impossible situation.
It's an impossible situation. Of course, Barda doesn't want to do this. Mr. Miracle's they go back and forth. It's last issue was really
just heavy about
very
conversation.
Heavy, very emotional. Really nice lead up to this issue where we find out what the decision is. It's not even we come into this and the conversation still going on. The decision has been made.
Yeah.
They're packing up to go someplace. Included in what they'll bring are various items Jake's little toy. He likes Batman.
Yeah, he's a big Batman fan.
So he has to have his Batman toy.
He has a Batman birthday party in the last issue, I believe.
Yes. But they have their stroller. They got the whole thing. They're literally parents just packing up, but they're also wearing their
superhero
costumes.
Yeah.
And they're also bringing a crudité platter when they go to Apocalypse, where they're greeted by Leilani, who is another member of
Darkseid's people.
Forces. Who cares? Desaad is there, and Apocalypse, or Darkseid himself is there. And essentially they're going through with the deal. Right. And we get this whole 9-page panel thing about Darkseid eating crudité.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I know the internet's probably gonna be
yeah, the internet shat themselves over how funny that was.
Right, which is I was it doesn't really matter. I didn't
yeah,
it's not what I'm here for.
Is that what you paid attention to? Okay.
That's not the thing to pay attention to in this issue. Let me tell you that right now. Anyway, Desaad does most of the talking for Darkseid, who apparently sees it as beneath him, which I really dig.
He's the mouth of Darkseid.
Right, which is so bizarre because you have him the previous page doing the crudité thing, and then it's just he's this imposing god-like figure because he is a god, and basically just being look, we're just here to make peace, all right? So we get it, and they end up, pretty much working on the terms of the agreement, where it's just okay, you're gonna give us the child, and then here's the thing, and they give him
the equation,
the baby, and
the baby.
Darkseid's holding the baby, and he baby grabs Darkseid's nose, and they're going over what they think the word for nose is, because the kid doesn't really talk yet, but he has sounds that he associates with things, and they're basically just doing family things, and part of it seems they're just going through the motions because they don't want to let go of the kid.
Yeah, they're taking as much time as they can.
Yeah, exactly. And so Darkseid immediately pulls his troops back. He's peace will be rendered. They're gonna get everyone out of there, and everything will be okay. And then Barda's now I need the anti-life equation. And Desaad's here's the thing, he already knows it. He can't unlearn it. Right. He will always have that knowledge. So even if we gave it to you, it wouldn't matter because he could still use it. Yeah. So here's what we're gonna do. Instead, Darkseid rips out one of his eyes, and he's there. Now he can't use the Omega Beams, and without the Omega Beams, the anti-life equation is useless. So it's we have the gun, but you have the ammunition, and they give Barda one of the eyes, and she immediately just destroys it.
Right.
She's just nope.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm not risking this. And she just crushes it. And they're okay, and they pretty much say their goodbyes. They're we just want to can we at least hug our baby one more time? So Mr. Miracle picks the kid up, and he's just hugging him, and he's just I love you, and don't forget that, and blah blah blah, and he's okay honey, I've got him, and she's cool, and she takes the carriage, the stroller, and initially Leilani had checked them for weapons, and she's just all I have is crudité and a stroller, ha 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 ha. But what they did was they have been collecting items to use for Mr. Miracle's show, for things to escape and to get around, these crazy heroic items that they would have collected from all their wild adventures, right? But they ended up, and I want to make sure I get this, during a crisis a while back, they ended up gathering energy from the Miracle Machine.
Yes.
And which they do is they use it in the bottom of the stroller, which she then turns into a weapon, and she fires it at Darkseid because it's unstoppable. You can't nothing can stop it. But of course it's Darkseid, so he does, and he ends up beating the hell out of Barda, and we get another Darkseid is, and I was that's awesome.
Yep.
And they're that's it, you violated the agreement. We're still going to take your baby. We're also going back to war and all this stuff. And it's yeah, but you still can't use your anti-life equation. So, you know, woe unto you, I guess. So then, Mr. Miracle, is trying to protect his son while Darkseid's attacking him. And, he just like they're just talking in general about like the pain and like all this stuff and like, you know, like what was given to Mr. Miracle and how ungrateful he is. Like Desaad's just going at him over this, right? And like Mr. Miracle gets knocked down, like the baby's like on the ground, and like Barda's like, you have to get up.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta stand. Like, and he's like, basically he does like a yes dear kind of thing. And he reaches out, and nearby is a knife or a dagger. Let's call it a dagger because it's not a knife, it's a dagger. And he takes the dagger and he plunges it into Darkseid's eye.
Yeah.
And he's just like, and he just...
His good eye or his
missing eye. His eye hole. I guess that's really what it is, and that's a weird thing to say, but that's what it is. And he's like, here's the thing. Like, this... They make a foreign knife, which isn't made out of Darkseid. Instead, it's made out of Orion.
Yeah.
Which is genius, because that can kill him, and that was part of the prophecy and all this stuff. And presumably, in this moment, they've killed Darkseid.
Yeah.
And then Desaad sits in his chair, and he suddenly turns into Metron. And he's just like, hey, that's cool and all, but like, Mr. Miracle, scot-free, there's other places you should be. And then we get this amazing, like, crazy splash page of what looks like the current DC universe, like...
exploding out.
Yeah, so I'm just like, oh, what?
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Yeah, so we don't know if this even took place in the same universe.
Exactly, which I was like, I guess that makes sense. So, you know, we'll see how this goes. And I can't wait.
Yeah.
I hope he can stick the landing on this one.
Be great.
Yeah.
Because this has been an incredible series so far.
It really has.
If it works, it'll be like it'll be Vision and this, or his greatest things he's ever done.
Yeah, I agree. Someone said it's a socket. I was like, that's the word.
Yeah, well.
Not eye hole.
Well, ask Justin Roiland what they're called. Recommendation? Do you think it's worth picking up?
I think it's worth picking up the whole series up to this point.
Right.
I wouldn't start there.
No. Oh, Tiffany has been tossed out a theory a while back about what this series is leading towards.
Right.
I think she said it in issue 1. Yeah. And you were like, the whole issue, like the whole series is taking place up to like the first page is the last page.
Yeah, like that's what I initially thought, but now I was like, there's really no way they could work this. But now I don't know, because now Metron's here, so it's like I don't know. But like I assumed that he tries to kill himself after all of this.
Yeah.
After the destruction of what I assumed would be his son.
Right. And
I don't know now. Like initially I was like, there's no way that can happen now. So like I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
The Razorvids said a Predator story set in the Old West. Anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything.
Here's the secret to sit
Yeah.
down. Here's the secret. Here's the secret. My opinion of what the secret is to a good Predator movie. Ready? It's a movie that you've already written, whether it be a Western or
like a samurai
flick or like a Road Warrior story. It does. I don't care what it is. It could be a simple,
a crappy like buddy cop movie.
Right. I don't care. An action movie on a boat. I don't care. It's a movie that already exists. And then the Predator shows up.
Yeah, like a third of the way through the movie, a Predator drops in.
It's not a movie about the Predator. It's a movie that's happening. And then the Predator shows up.
Yeah.
That's why the other two movies are so good, because it's another movie that was happening and it got totally thrown out of whack because a Predator shows up.
Yeah, no one cares about where they come from, how their society works, how their technology works, what the government's doing about them.
Right.
All we care about is whether our protagonist will survive against the Predator.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Mr. Rabata, Sal, which X-Man are you? Also, how bored is Darkseid? I don't know how bored he is. I mean, he's certainly bored through the eye.
Well, he looked pretty bored when he was eating the crew today.
Yeah.
Almost like he didn't know what it was. But
right.
It's like, then why are you eating it?
Then why are you eating it? But yeah, which X-Man am I? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think I am one. That's why I never really identified with them. I think for me, I was a Spider-Man fan. But
I don't know what X-Men you are. You're Jubilee.
Yeah. I'll take it, I guess.
No.
Super Comic Fanboy 616. Remember when Metron and Owlman were killed at the end of Darkseid War? Yep. But this is Mr. Miracle. I mean, this is a totally different... It's Tom King. He can do whatever he wants. Darkseid was dead. He's different. He was a little baby, and then he's an adult. He's wearing the costume he should be wearing and everything.
Right, unless they're going to pull the whole, like, this is another...
universe
There's a
something.
multiverse
Yeah.
where, like, Metron is not dead and Darkseid never died.
Right. So, yeah, like, you can't even start.
Right, so it's either going to be that, and, like, either this Mr. Miracle is from another place, like, it's from our
Right,
current,
or this is our... Yeah.
and then, like, they're going to... I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway...
Justin Beckford, there could only be one set of new gods that exist in all the DCO multiverse, right? So this had to have happened, right? Lol, I'm a little confused. As I've understood it, I've looked this up before, and I've debated it with other comic book people, and some say that there actually can be multiple versions of the new gods.
Right. I'd say the only thing there could be definitely one of are the Endless.
Right. Yeah, like Death and Dream.
Yeah, and Destiny and Delirium and all of them. There's only one of them because they should, in theory, or
exist outside the multiverse.
Yeah.
The fourth world should as well, but we have evidence that it doesn't. So,
yeah,
there you have it.
Yeah.
So that was Mr. Miracle recommendations. Yeah. I think so.
All around really love the series so far, and like excited and sad at the same time that it's about to be over in a month.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, that's it. Mm-hmm. But like, it's pretty much been going on for a year now, which is insane.
Yeah, 12 months.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Mr. Roboto, time for a Wes Anderson Predator. Yes, indeed.
Well, you have a Wes Anderson movie, and then a Predator shows up.
Be the most symmetrical Predator movie ever seen. And then you got one more book before this is a penultimate book we're going to be reviewing.
I have two more.
Oh, you have two more. Well, excuse me.
I do have two more.
I'll take them over, please.
Just real quick, I won't go super into detail on it, but Mr. and Mrs. X came out this week. Still loving this issue.
Yep,
or this whole series. I'm still loving this issue from when I read it before. And I'm also still loving this series. I'm trying to find the team on this. Comixology, what are you doing to me? Here we go. It's Kelly Thompson and Oscar Bazaldua?
Yeah, Bazaldua.
Anyway, don't forget, Gambit and Rogue got married. Then they took their honeymoon in space. Mm-hmm. And that totally got wrecked because Kitty Pryde needed some help because
that's what she does.
The Shi'ar Empire and a bunch of other folk have been seeking out this like item of ultimate destruction or what have you. It was an egg. Deadpool shows up. Madcap hijinks ensue. The egg hatches last like issue, and Rogue comes out. It's an adult naked Rogue.
Yes. And
Deadpool's like, yeah, like I'll just take that one. It's cool. Mm-hmm. Regardless, the Imperial Guard who had been in charge of getting that egg go back to Gladiator, who is now in charge of the Shi'ar Empire, and is like, hey, sorry, we failed, and he's just like, go get it, and like they send Cerise back, and we had thought that she was helping, but now it seems like she's still meddling, so I don't know what's going on with that. Meanwhile, Rogue gets in touch with Kitty and is like, you gotta tell me everything right now, because clearly Kitty Pryde knows more than she thinks.
Yeah.
Whilst Gambit and Deadpool try desperately to put clothes on naked running around Rogue. And so it turns out Kitty's like, okay, so you need to make Deadpool leave the room before I'll tell you this. So they shove him out. And it turns out that recently has come to folks' attention that this egg appeared, and it is the genetically engineered child of Lilandra and...
Charles Xavier?
Yeah.
Oh!
And... so everybody wants it because it'll help to like either like this child will be of great power. It could help put people into power. It like all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But it's an egg, and
but didn't it hatch and it's Rogue?
Well, yeah, but now it's Rogue, and it can turn into things clearly.
Okay.
And like so, in order to preserve itself, it turned into the first thing it saw, which was Rogue.
Gotcha.
And essentially, they're like, here's the thing: everything's really complicated because upon her death, Lilandra pledged all of her progeny to the royal line. Which is like, it makes it a hot mess, but it's also Charles Xavier's kid. So the X-Men are like, you can't take that. Mm-hmm. No, that's bullshit.
Yep.
So regardless, the kid or the naked Rogue ends up like being like, show me my parents, and like she puts her hands on Rogue and Gambit's heads and she
gets their memories,
all of the memories of what they look like, and so she forms herself into a combination of Lilandra and Xavier and calls herself Xandra.
Right.
And she's like, there we go. And basically, Kitty's like, she's more than likely an Omega level mutant, and you gotta keep her safe.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what we got to do. And so immediately they're under attack, and it's Deathbird. not Warbird. Deathbird shows up, who's the sister of Lilandra, and she's just like, I want the kid because the kid will help put me into power and get Gladiator out of there because he's a dick.
Yep.
We get this really cool, fun sequence of like these really interesting double page splash pages of action sequences between Gambit and Deadpool, who go to try to like stall for as long as possible, and it's just really interestingly done where it's not panel. It's just literally like long panels of them like doing things, and you just get the motions occurring.
Yeah.
Neat, fun. I kind of wish to see a miniseries that stars Deadpool and Gambit now because I like their like synergy. Synergy.
Yep.
Anyway, at the end of the day, they end up losing the egg.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They got him, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, they end up losing it. Someone else shows up, grabs the egg. She turns back into an egg to save herself. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Deathbird who grabs it.
All right.
But, like, yeah, so Xandra turns herself into an egg to save herself because that way it's like, you know, whatever.
Yep.
And Rogue ends up kicking Deadpool out, being like, here's the thing. Like, I know that you want to help because, like, Deadpool's like, I really kind of, like, take offense to you having such an issue with me helping because, like, yes, I was going to sell it when it was an egg, but now it's a person that's, like, even low for me, so I'm not going to do that. And she's like, but you're not going to be able to help yourself at one point or another. You're going to screw us over.
Right.
So she, like, pushes him to a transporter and, like, sends him someplace that's okay.
Okay.
And Gambit finds it very hot that she does that. And then Cerise shows up and is like, okay, so you're going to have to infiltrate this whole, like, Shi'ar, like, or whatever area. Here are your costumes to like go for infiltration. And of course, in like the way we've been seeing these stories told with Rogue and Gambit, we just see that at the end of the day it did not work,
right?
And like they've been captured,
cut to,
and they have no powers.
Oh.
And what's gonna happen now?
Hijinks.
Right. It is soap opera, over the top, ridiculous stuff going on, and I'm totally in.
Nice.
Fun idea.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. Like,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Just a good time had by all.
Recommendations?
Yeah, I love this book. I really, if you're looking for a sort of tropey, sort of like, I don't want to say it's like 90s because, you know, it just has that feel sort of in a way where it's like over the top, but it's not quite as melodramatic.
Right.
But
so
like it makes you think of that time period without being a carbon copy of that.
So if you opine or if you pine for old books, maybe you should be picking this up.
Yeah, I would say so, only because like it's more of like it's a modern day spin on it. It's like almost like an homage in a sense, and like I'm just really enjoying it, and the fact that they thought to have like this like egg character. I'm like, kind of fun. We'll see where that ends up going. Neat.
That's cool.
I dig it.
Really quick, Carlin Canales. Carlin Canales. Why can certain characters be killed and brought back like Wolverine, others can't, like Uncle Ben? Because Uncle Ben is like a plot device that if he's back to life will undo the Spider-Man mythos, whereas Wolverine is a character who they've told a million stories about and can die and come back to life like 1,000 times. Yeah. I think that's like the short answer for it. Yeah. Like Bucky doesn't count because Bucky didn't really inform who Captain America was until people decided that he did, and even then it was kind of flimsy. Yeah. You know, like it would be like if you were to bring back the Waynes. You know, like,
and I think there's also something different about bringing back a character akin to Wolverine, who is a hero who has seen things that are out of the norm, and bringing back
like an old man
an
who just died,
human who may not be prepared for something like that mentally.
Yeah, it's just I mean, like, can they tell those stories? Probably. And Caleb Vila, most hated comics y'all have ever read? Great channel. Thank you very much for liking the channel. That's a very loaded question, and it requires more time than we have.
I was going to say the most hated comics I've ever read usually have been on Good, Bad, and Ugly, and they're already in the wrong box.
Exactly. So if you would like to know, you should check out the show Good, Bad, and Ugly, because we've a lot of them. Yeah. I was trying to think of like Curse the Spawn.
Yeah, that's it. Just
and for me, the most recent one is The Heckler, #1.
Yeah. Ooh, that was rough. That was rough.
So, there you go.
Real quick, let's go into very briefly Thor #5.
Yes. Jason
Aaron. Dumlin is not on this book right now.
No.
Guest artist Christian Ward. I was like, it still looks good. Still looks good. Yeah. Still looks good. This is a far in the future story.
Yes.
All-Father Thor and his 3 granddaughters resparked life on planet Earth after millennia has left it barren.
Yep.
King Thor is now looking to help spark life again, and he's seeking out some old friends and some powerful allies. And what he finds is Wolverine. And then we start the book with a flashback to Thor and Wolverine in a bar, just talking about, like, the best bars they've ever been to on Midgard and just, like, having fun experiences. And
I've never seen Wolverine and Thor interact before, really,
right?
So I liked seeing that.
Exactly, and just, like, how, like, Thor's perception of time and his age versus Wolverine's perception of time and his age, and how Wolverine's, like, you know, like...
Because both of them think they can't die, so it's, like, interesting to see these two, like, old men.
And, like, Wolverine's like, no, eventually
he thinks he's almost dead,
He's like, I am gonna die, and that's, like... kind of okay. Like, I'm old and, like, I feel it sometimes. And, like, Thor's like, no, we're gonna have more adventures, here we go. And then a bunch of, like, guys come in and, like, try to, like, rouse the bar, basically.
Yeah.
And they have a battle and Thor's like, what a great day!
Yeah.
How awesome is this kind of thing? And then it cuts to the present, which is the future? Like, a far-flung future, where King Thor runs into Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
And Old Man Logan hasn't been seen in forever, and neither has the Phoenix Force, and Old Man Logan has the Phoenix Force.
Then it's probably Jason Aaron's version of Old Man Logan.
So, yeah.
Okay. It's different. Yeah, it's different, though.
Yeah, he has, like, almost an angelic sort of look to him, but, like a fire angel. Pretty cool looking overall.
Yeah.
Really, like, interesting. Literally calls him Wolverine, and he's like, Wolverine, that's a name I haven't heard. And I'm like,
yeah,
pulling an Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that's right.
Or Gandalf, of course. Yeah. Regardless, Thor says the universe is dying. He wants to save it. Wolverine's like, oh, yeah, we can save that? Cool. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Like, there's a reason the Earth died. Let's let it die. I'm like, you can't bring it back. And he's just like, and in fact, the steps that you've taken have doomed it to a worse death. So here's the thing. I'm going to stop you, and then I'm going to go and kill Earth again. Because, like, we can't have it be alive. Because, trust me, there's something out there that's going to be way worse. And, like, Thor's like, no, you don't know yourself, and I'll help you bring you back, because I'm Thor. And he's just like, okay, yeah, like, you're gonna kill me? Come on, just show me what you got. And that's when we cut to Ego the Necro World.
Oh, God. Okay.
Who is coming, essentially, for Earth that's been seeking out anything that's life. And, like, they show us these really cool images of these space whales. Space whales.
Cool.
Space whales. And he eats the last pod of them, basically. It's an, like, unstoppable force. And, like, there's, like, some really cool narration in this. I'm just like, this is kind of awesome. Like, just really enjoyed it. Like, talking about, like, the All Black, or a sword called All Black, and how Gore the God Butcher once wielded it. And, like, just going on. And it's just really, like, in depth to some degree about, like, the mythology of this universe that they've created. And, like, on Ego, a snake shows up and says, like, you know, I'm gonna stop you. And he's just like, oh, impotent worm, you will not stop me. And, like, ends up being a true problem for Ego. We don't know what's going on with that, but it's like this interlude. And, like, it's funny because it starts like, here begins the interlude. The interlude is now over. Now we're going to return back to our story where Wolverine and Thor are having, like, an epic, crazy battle. And at the end of the day, Thor is blinded in his other good eye by Wolverine's fire claws.
Right.
He's the Phoenix, so he has fire claws. But Thor's like, you didn't remember, like, anything about me. And, like, he ends up using Mjolnir to bust through Wolverine's chest. So, like, taking him down a peg, he's got a big hole in him. And, like, he's like, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to kill Earth. And Thor's like, but you're not. And, like, my granddaughters will. And he's just like, they're already toast. Like, it's already, like, if they're not already dead, they will be soon. And, like, there's nothing you can do about it. And then we see that back on New Midgard, like, the girls are there. And they're fun designs. Like, they're really cool looking designs. They each have, like, different names, different personalities, the whole thing. Like, I like the fact that one of them's the goddess of thunder. And, like, one of them, like, kind of reminds me of Loki in a sense. Like, I'm like, that's kind of cool. And they didn't do the two. They could have easily done, like, to mirror Thor and Loki. But no. And then, like, all of a sudden, like, monsters show up.
Right.
Like Fing Fang Foom and Goom and Gorgilla and like Monstrum.
Cool.
They show up and, like, the girls are like, I haven't seen a dragon, like, ever. I dibs on the dragon. I'm killing the dragon. I get the rights for that.
Yeah, Aaron, we've seen these characters before.
Right.
They're fun like that.
Right, but I dig that so much that they're just Asgardian through and through. Yeah. And they're Thor's granddaughters.
Yeah, granddaughters. Yeah.
And they fight for it, and, like, they start taking them down left and right, and Fing Fang Foom's like, you know, like, proselytizing.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, oh, you thought that I was in charge. Oh, no, I don't serve. Like, I serve him. And then, like, all of a sudden, like, Doom shows up, and he's, like, got the power of Iron Fist and the Sorcerer Supreme, and, like...
And the Star Brand.
And the Star Brand, and, like, all this stuff, and, like, that's what they have to deal with. And, like, that's what Wolverine was afraid of.
That's cool.
And I'm like, that's fun and ridiculous.
Yep.
And, like, I am so in. I love these, like, crazy future stories that will probably never come to be because it's just, essentially, it's another what if. I like what if stories. I like taking what it is and then, yeah. So,
I know.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I recommend that book wholeheartedly. It's terrific. Back in the Super Chats, we had a couple of questions. Mr. Roboto asking... Sal, what does your Outback look like?
Yeah.
It looks like Mile High Comics, but like all the comics have like memories and experiences.
That's awesome.
Thank you. You?
It wasn't for me.
Jam Call X, if you had to bring U.S. Agent and the Stars team from Maximum Security, who would be on the team? How would you improve the characters on the team? I don't know. It would just be like fun, regular people, probably, with like power. It would be like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know? It would be like, you know, Dugan and like Abigail Brand and Coulson and... You know, just a nice hodgepodge.
You
Quake.
put Abigail Brand and Coulson on a team, it's just going to be like headbutting constantly.
They're going to get together. And
right?
It'll be fun.
I also wouldn't mind, like, what is it, Agents of Hate?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like that style of,
yeah,
like...
so Bloodstorm would be on there.
Yeah, like...
Machine Man could join.
Yeah, characters who are like, you have powers, but like...
Yeah, Monica Rambeau. That'd be great.
Like,
yeah,
kind of cool, like, akin to that, I would do.
Especially with U.S. Agent, this, like, pain in the ass on there.
Yep.
Will.i.am Golden says hi.
Hi!
And Kumar Abhishek... Hey, ComicPOP, what are you going to do? When are you going to do the 52 series? Someday in the future. Not now, or anytime soon.
But in the future.
But in the future, it'll happen. We have the omnibus.
But not like the future from this.
No. It'll be a future that actually, like, we can survive and have. But yeah, so that leaves us with one final book left to review.
Right.
This is Batman Damned. It came out this past week. It is written by Brian Azzarello with art by Lee Bermejo. It has a lot of controversy surrounding it.
I guess.
I guess. Such that, like... So here it is. We picked it up. I can turn this off now. Big complaint right off the bat. Jim Lee's cover. This makes it look like Jim Lee's going to draw the book.
Oh, I didn't care. And, like, here's the reason I didn't care, because most of the books I pick up, like...
Are a lie.
This isn't done by...
Humberto Ramos?
Yeah, this isn't
no.
Kubert. I'm just
saying,
I've kind of come to...
For me, like, Lee Bermejo does enough covers, and I've seen a lot of covers of Batman Damned where I was like, what?
Right.
The Jim Lee cover? I thought it was like a variant or something.
Yeah, well, he's like, but he's like in charge of things, so
he gets to do it.
He gets to do a cover if he wants to do a cover.
Right. It just sends a different message.
No, big thing for me out of the gate, the format.
Format.
We're gonna talk about the book, but like, guys,
look at
the
this.
format of this book is kind of amazing. This is the change in panel size and page size that you get here. That for me is a game changer because it completely alters how an artist can tell a story, especially if they're used to telling a story like this. And like a writer would also be used to telling a story that fits into this. Now they have a story that fits like this. Mm-hmm. I think that's awesome. And like, again, like, you don't really see any double page splashes here, but could you imagine seeing a double page splash here?
It would be great. It's not in there, but yeah.
Like, just, I don't know. So, like, I thought the format for this was great. I like the binding on it, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Nice little soft touch cover there, Spot UV.
Yeah.
Overall, nice. Like, fun little prestige version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Neat. So, all right. Now that I'm done talking about that, because that was like out of the gate, I was like,
yep.
We were at the store. I was like,
right.
I'm like, wait, what?
The story is Batman is wounded from a battle with the Joker. He wakes up and he is like gonna die. Constantine finds him in an alley and cures him of all of his like physical ailments.
Yes.
Batman escapes. He looks for the culprit because he finds out Constantine tells him that the Joker's dead and kind of like heavily implies that Batman did it. Batman goes like flying around the city looking for like information about who might have killed the Joker. He eventually adopts a mantle not unlike Matches Malone to investigate further and winds up running into this version of Zatanna.
Yep.
And that's the story.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Like, that's what happens in the book.
Yes.
There's a lot of, like, interplay in between. There's a lot of, like, narration from Constantine as the, like, unreliable narrator, that self-proclaimed unreliable narrator. There's a lot of, like, stuff to unpack from this. For example, like, is this in the continuity of Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo's book, The Joker?
Right.
In which the ending of the story picks up from here. Like, this is, like, they both tumble off of a bridge. They say there's two John Does. It could be that, like, Joker's lackey, who is the protagonist of Joker, is the other protagonist. Like, there's a lot of weird, like, references in here that could actually be that like Joker is the predecessor to this book.
Right, and like honestly, like
plus the design are all the same, so it's like Batman Noel, which is in the same universe.
Right. But he does have visions of the bridge itself quite frequently.
Yep.
There's a lot of question, just honestly, like if anything is real in this book, because like he like has a battle, right, and he's like running around and he's in trash, but then he has a vision of himself falling off a bridge. And when he wakes up, like, he's cured, but then he asks the, for an analysis on his wounds when he gets back to the Batcave, and they act as though there's nothing there.
Yes.
Now, of course, that can be attributed to magic, but it could also be attributed to, like...
You didn't actually get
shot?
Any wounds?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I kind of like the mystery behind that, because as soon as you involve someone like Constantine in there, first of all, Batman's not going to be a fan. Second of all, it makes you question if it's a psychological thing that's going on or if it's a mystical thing that's going on, especially because seemingly it looks like they're including Enchantress. Mm-hmm. I can't tell if it's Enchantress.
I thought it was Death.
That's funny because like, and that like almost, I was like, you can't just redesign Death.
Yeah, that made you upset.
Yes, it's like, you can't just redesign Death. She has a look. But like, I thought she looked like the Enchantress, which didn't really make any sense to me either. But yeah, presumably that is like what her like visage look like with like
it looks like the movie Enchantress.
Yeah, which like again could just be there to throw you off, but like, you know, Neil Gaiman's Death had like the Ankh symbolism.
Yes.
And this is lacking from this.
It does have like she wears like a lot of different like she has the moon symbol on there, which is what for me told me that she was Death.
See, that's what that told me it was Enchantress. I don't know. So regardless, the book does an interesting job of like, first of all, assuring you that this is like an alternate reality in a sense.
It's not the main DC continuity.
No,
it's in fact not for all ages in any way.
And no, because you have like Thomas Wayne who's having an affair, which I was just like, ooh. Like, I don't know how I felt about that, because I know you, like, initially my gut reaction was, that's not Thomas Wayne. I'm like, you know what, though?
But this isn't really Batman.
It's not really Batman, but, like, there's something to be said about that, where it's just, like, you know, if you create a character like Batman who believes that his parents were for good and purity and all that, and then he discovers that they weren't, and it was something he was keeping out, but he still continuously does what he set out to do, that almost makes him a stronger hero if he doesn't fall. Like when he peers over into the darkness to see what his dad truly was, if he continues on upholding an ideal, like that's kind of neat. And like I don't know if that's what they're going to explore in this.
It's a cool idea though.
That like affair certainly comes up frequently. Like even when like they're in the park, like that woman is there.
Yes, the mistress. The
mistress is there, and there's like a little like moment, like a tense moment between Mrs. Wayne and Mr. Wayne, even though he doesn't know what's happening. Mm-hmm. But then we're distracted by this enchantress or whoever it is showing up. So I was like, that's kind of neat. That's an interesting exploration, and I like these types of explorations in books that aren't in main continuity. Because if it doesn't work out in the end, you don't have to.
You didn't wreck everything.
Exactly. You just went and you saw where the story naturally took you. That's kind of cool. Like,
no, I agree.
Nicely done.
Like, I'm really glad that they're pushing boundaries. That's what this Black Label line is supposed to do. It's supposed to test the waters, try new things, do things you wouldn't normally do in continuity or even outside continuity. Right. It's not an Elseworlds book. It's a Black Label book.
No,
it's very different.
Honestly, Constantine in this felt more like the original Hellblazer Constantine in a sense.
Yes.
And like, a lot of that, of course, is brought out by Bermejo's artwork, which is very, you know, like gritty and dark and, you know, just... It has that, like, sickening realism to it.
Yeah. Batman, for me, Bermejo's Batman always looks like a dope.
Well...
Like, he's always, like, whenever he draws him, he has, like, a realistic face.
Yeah.
But his face is always, like, him looking like he's really surprised or, like... thrown off guard. He always looks like, huh?
In this, I appreciated that because in this, he's like a man out of his league because, like, again, he's either having a psychological breakdown or there is something mystical going on in his
Either
life.
way, he's over his head.
Yeah, he's over his head right now, and I think he eventually will hopefully come out of it. So, like, the faces I kind of appreciated in that sense. I didn't appreciate that occasionally I'm like, this almost looks like Michael Keaton.
Yeah, a little bit.
In a way,
I can see that.
Here and there, but, like, when you're drawing that level of realism, you tend to have to use reference, and that's not the same thing as copying. That's like okay, how would like fabric fold like this?
Yeah.
And at times, like, honestly, I'm sorry, I got off the track of Constantine. I'll get back to that. But at times, Bermejo's art for me is so detailed and skewed to that realism that, like, when there's a page full of multi-panels, like, I'm not looking at the layout and the interactions within the panel because I'm so distracted by the details that he's put in there.
Yeah.
And so, like, a lot of it ends up, like, wasted in a sense because it's so
too much.
But, like, his art really shines when he has, like, a couple of panels.
Yes.
Like, when there's only, like, 2 panels on the page. And there was one in this that, like, I kept going back to. And I was honestly, like not, like, taken aback by it. But I was just like, wow, this is a really fantastic panel. And it's him looking at what I don't know is the cave or not. It's like something else.
Yeah, it's a cave or it's a tunnel,
cave.
actually.
But, like, I thought that panel was just spectacular because of the subtleties he put within that, like, mist or smoke where, like, there's an implied face. And, of course, because our brains are programmed to find faces, you didn't have to so heavily put it in, and he didn't. I was just like, really well done. I had to give him, like, complete props there.
Totally.
Yeah, like, oh, and then in terms of, also, I like the imagery of, like, the, like, faceless suit.
Oh, God, coming after him,
like the bat suit coming after him in place of like a bat or something coming after him.
Yeah.
Like, seeing that come to life, I thought that was really, really cool.
Agreed.
And there was one other thing. Oh yeah, it was the
new design.
It was the new design, but also that bat that he draws.
Oh, when
like,
when he holds it up.
Yeah, when she's holding it up to him, I was like, that's also like really interesting.
It's amazing how it's a real bat.
Yes.
But it also perfectly it literally looks like Bermejo's Batman chest logo.
Yeah.
But not in a forced way.
No,
like it just goes like, wow, it's like you were planning that from the get-go.
Right. And like, but these are the types of pages where you have like one big panel and a couple of smaller panels that I think work better than some of the earlier stuff when they're in Gotham. And like, yes, in a sense, like you could read that as like when they're in Gotham, it's the chaos of Gotham itself.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. Like that's just one possible read of it. In terms of Constantine though, like liked his grittiness, liked his edge, liked his dialogue overall.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he calls himself an unreliable narrator, like I like and I don't like at the same time.
Yeah, I just want to know what's happening.
It's like almost a little too hand wavy that like it almost gives Azzarello the right to make mistakes with Constantine's narration. And then be like, yeah, but see, it's okay because, like, I said he was an unreliable narrator.
Right.
Because he references the Killing Joke, and I'm like,
yes.
So where does this sit in there? And are we talking like Constantine has access to the multiverse then? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Dead Man, that was awesome. The concept of making Dead Man's costume out of, like, muscle? Freaking cool.
Not only that, but, like, I really dug, the new status for Dead Man. Like, how when he gets into people's bodies, like it makes them
sick. It makes them ill. Like they have food poisoning. I was like,
they have to regurgitate him.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? This character here almost reminded me of the Spectre.
Oh yeah.
Like the guy he's chasing. He's got the green trench coat. He's very pale.
Yep. Could very well be.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, like honestly, I'm interested to see where this is going to go. And we knew out of the gate, like I know you were not interested because it was Azzarello, but I knew I was going to be picking this up because as soon as they said that Batman and Constantine were going to be working together, I was in. Mm-hmm. So regardless of controversy surrounding this book, which I guess we will mention, now for me, this wasn't a big deal at all. But I went to school for art, and when you study art history, you're
around the
see a lot of dicks. Okay. You're going to see a lot of dicks and a lot of, like, just of, like, the human body, male, female, you've seen it all. Mm-hmm. And that just, like, I get it. I get why people are like, oh, my God, you can't put it in there. But
for me, I get why people are referencing it so much because, because everybody wants to be a comedian and be funny.
Right.
And, like, the easiest, most here's a joke, her low-hanging fruit is making reference to dicks. Yeah. Like, it's just the easiest, quickest gag
especially
to try and ape off any kind of, like, resemblance of humor.
Right.
And so, like, anybody, like, so, like, it makes sense that, like, Stephen Colbert would, like, attempt to be relevant again by making reference to it. And, like, Seth Meyers would make like 16 jokes about it in a row, and it's like it makes sense that like late night comedians who are desperate and hungry for any amount of humor would try and farm this seemingly simple, unnecessarily like referenced book,
right?
And so I see why it's like. And here's the thing: it's one of those like blink and you'll miss it moments in the book. Because I remember reading a tweet, I think it was Snyder, who said, like, he goes, I love it because it expresses his vulnerability, and he's, like, desperate, and so it's, like, it's a man naked and alone. And I'm like, no, he's just naked, but, like, here's the thing, who cares? Like, at the end of the day, like, the argument isn't necessarily, like, about artistic expression so much as it is, like, I feel like if no one posted it on Reddit, people might not have noticed it. Like, it's really that kind of thing. Like, I remember in the digital version when they released it, it's just in shadow.
Yeah.
And it's deliberately not in shadow, like his member, because I think Bermejo's also like, they told me that Black Label meant we can do whatever we want.
On the back it does say it's for mature readers. And here's the thing, like, Bermejo's treating this like it's art, and like that is his work is more like could be easily translated to like a more traditional art style in a sense.
Who's like used to that and would like be like,
I'm
drawing the man, like the true man.
Yes, he draws anatomy as it is and not an idealized version of it, unless of course he's working from that.
Reference.
You know what I mean? Like, when you see people's faces in this, at times they're grotesque and horrifying because that's what you see sometimes. That's how people are. And like when he draws people just on the street, it's all shapes and sizes, but it is human anatomy.
Right.
If Batman gets naked, you're more than likely going to see that. And honestly, I almost disagree with Snyder that he's vulnerable and naked at that moment. And here's the thing, guys. I don't want to sound like I'm like, yeah, exactly. But there's a difference, or at least this is what I was taught and I ascribe to, but there's a difference between nudity or being nude and being naked. Being naked is being vulnerable, and I think later on when the suit confronts him, he is then naked.
Absolutely.
And I like that in comparison to earlier when I feel he is just nude.
Yeah, he's just taking off his... He's like,
behold! I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, here I am.
I have nothing to be ashamed of.
Here it is.
And like he's just getting undressed like in the cave. It's in a way that you've never seen Batman get undressed, but it's in a way, it's in almost like a braggadocio, like... I can take off my suit wherever I want. It's my cave.
Exactly. And like, so like to make the point later on where he is so vulnerable, I appreciate having that in a sense because it's like, no, see, like,
that's what we're talking about. This is where you might have seen his dick. Like,
but you didn't. Like, he's just nude in the other one.
Exactly.
Like, there are plenty of works that have been done like that where the individual is in the nude because they acknowledge it. They're like, yep.
Yeah.
What of it?
Exactly.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So like I know a lot of people made a big deal about it, and it's easy to make jokes about it, like especially because
the easiest joke you make.
Because I mean, like, yeah, it writes itself. It writes itself.
It allows you the opportunity to maybe pretend like you're funny.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, what upsets me about it is like make the jokes. I don't care. Because people have always made jokes,
right? But don't
that kind of
don't
thing.
Ruin the book now.
And that's what the problem is that like because of it now DC feels like they shouldn't have done this and might be more gun shy
about doing anything, even like not even related to it. But now they're like, well, we pushed the envelope on something that seemed so inconsequential and became a late night sensation. And so, you know, like I remember what was it? Sean Murphy wanted to do a black and white, like actually fully like a more hard R-rated naked Harley Quinn Batman White Knight book, and they're doing it. Yeah. And I think they're going to put it out in the Black Label thing, but I don't remember which way they're going to do it. But like maybe they won't now. Yeah,
and you know what I mean? Like again, like I get it.
Or
like,
what if they do? What if they're like, no, you can see Harley Quinn's boobs. That's fine.
Yeah, and then
you enjoy our double standard.
Yeah, then you've created that where you didn't have it before. On the other hand, you know, like the jokes made about it. Although I don't like the fact that they have they're pulling these back now.
Yeah,
I don't like that because that's censorship of an art, and like that walks a weird line, and I don't want to get into that, but like that walks a weird line.
Yeah,
but it did get people talking about it.
Yes, they did. I mean, like it did, and it's funny because I've heard definitely people being like, this was deliberate and it's part of a publicity stunt. And it's like, yeah, those like $100 copies of this book on eBay, DC's not getting a split.
No.
Like, no, they're actually shooting themselves in the foot. Like, if they wanted to make this, if they wanted to really, like, if this was a controversial, like, deliberately, like, planned thing.
Yeah.
They would have had 600,000 copies that's waiting.
Yeah.
So that when your comic book store called them and said, like, I'm getting people from all over the city who desperately need a copy of my Batman Dick book, they would have sent them.
Yeah.
And then it would have been the #1 selling book.
Yeah.
But instead, they're like hurting the industry, art, and themselves by pulling this back.
Right.
They hurt themselves by making the digital version censored already, which also means they probably knew it. They probably knew they were like, we're probably gonna have to roll this back.
Yeah, and they're waiting to see how it was gonna go.
They were waiting to see if anybody noticed.
Yeah.
And it was not a deliberate, like, you know, conspiracy, we're going to sell a gazillion copies kind of thing.
Right,
it was more like, let's do this thing. Let's be unafraid. We're not owned by Disney. We can do whatever we want with these characters.
Yes.
And they were like, oh, apparently no, we can't.
Here's the thing. I'm glad we went and got it.
I'm glad we did too.
Because like I appreciate owning this, and like I'm gonna treasure this book, honestly. Because
and I'm
this
sure
was an experiment, and like in every way, shape, and form, it's a Black Label book. This is a really cool idea. It's taken outside of continuity. It's a totally different format.
Yeah.
It's totally different like size, look to it. And they went for it.
Yeah.
You know, they completely went for it, and in a way it's not even gratuitous.
No, that's the other thing is like I said, you would not even notice.
Yeah.
I bet you this though. When it's collected, it's 3 issues. When it is in hardcover, you will have 2 versions. And they will make a like explicit rated sealed book version, and it will be the same price, but you'll sell 2 copies or you'll sell 1 copy, but there'll be a lot of them.
Yeah.
People want to know like if this is what Black Label's going to look like. I say no. I think this is just Bermejo's like I want to do it like this.
I hope this is what the Black Labels will look like, and like that they're trying to make it so that they stand out on the shelves.
That'd be cool.
Because I like this format. I like the idea of the artist getting an opportunity to tell a different shaped story and not being beholden to a standard.
See, now I hope it
size.
isn't, but only because I want it to be anything. If you know what I mean? If they want to do it that way, that's cool.
I see what you mean.
But what if they want to do it like the long ways, like Frank Miller does?
That's fine.
Do anything you want. I think Black Label should be it should be a no holds barred book.
Someone asked, how do you bag and board that thing?
Well, I have these, and if you go to I know that what was that store? Newberry Comics sold these, but you can get them online. These are the magazine bags and boards. I have these for our Marvel graphic novel books from the 80s, and for our Image Plus magazines. This fits all of those, and it does fit this. Actually, put it in. You can fit it in there.
I didn't know if we were done talking and
I'd say we're pretty... No.
Oh. Well, I can't see. That's why you usually do these.
I know.
hate doing these. I hate them. But ta-da.
Ta-da. Boom. Bagged and boarded. And they're cheap. They cost as much as the usual set of bags and boards.
You don't have to get a whole lot of them because they don't make a whole lot of these.
Yeah, and I've heard some controversy about this, by the way, apropos this changing everything, because, now what are we going to do about, Dr. Manhattan and Doomsday Clock? Will he be naked? Probably not.
He should.
He should.
He should. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's not doing it.
You can argue him being, clothed in the DC universe if he ever even shows up, if this book ever finishes.
Yeah.
By the way, stick around. We're going to talk about books that we recommend for this week. But overall, final, thoughts on Batman Damned #1.
I, of course, dug it because of the, trickle in of, possible, here's the thing. This is, right up my alley because I love when they do something where it's is it magic or is it psychological? That's right up my alley.
Yeah.
It's Silent Hill 2 right here.
Right.
For me, I'm definitely going to pick this up. I definitely recommend it. Not even, for controversy aside.
No.
This is my kind of gritty,
Yeah, we
grim
picked this
book.
up deliberately before we even heard there was a problem.
Yeah, I was getting this no matter what. Although when we did hear there was a problem, we were like, we better go now.
Better get a copy.
Yeah.
Which is why we got variant B or something.
Yeah, which I like.
Yeah.
I dig it.
It's cool.
I dig it.
I get it.
I like it.
I recommend it too. But go find it. In the super chats before we get into recommendations, let's jump into them. Let's see here. Kayla Vila, would you ever have a fan on your channel, or do they also have to be a YouTuber? And if yes, how big of a YouTuber do they have to be? We don't usually do a lot of collaborations with people. It really depends on whether we know them, how well we know them, and whether we have some good project to work on together.
Yeah, that's really it.
So it's very rare that we actually do any collabs. If we do, and when we do them, it should be with YouTubers, just because there should be some kind of mutual exchange.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Heartless Fang, hey Sal, will you guys ever plan on doing No Man's Land Era of Batman? Yes. Mr. Roboto, Ultimate Universe Comic Pop difference, please list. What? Oh, what?
What the difference is, if we had an Ultimate Universe,
if there was a Comic Pop Ultimate Universe?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very hard question to answer, my friend. But, I guess I'll just say, Ultimate Ethan would probably be, taller and,
possibly a robot.
And probably a robot. You got to do something cool and different.
He would have been an AI that you invented somehow.
Yeah, I built him.
Like Jarvis.
Right, exactly.
Well,
yeah, he's a hologram.
Yeah, later Jarvis. Yeah.
Silvery Cricket, hey, I got here late. Was there any talk of WCA? I don't know what that is. Tales from Island Z, aloha.
at what is it, anagrams?
Yeah.
I am the worst. I'm like...
Let's see here. Tales from Island Z, Aloha, any chance since Batman Denville 3 issues that could be loosely parallel or be inspired by Dante? I can see that. You'd have to ask Azrael. I feel like he might take issue with it only because he's like, no, I don't make references. It's my thing. Yeah. Luke Brady, hey guys, anything on the Injustice versus He-Man book?
I read the first issue. I have the second issue waiting in the wings. I just didn't get a chance to read it. And I think the third one came out.
I think so too.
And I just haven't picked it up yet. But I thought, a neat idea.
She's reading it. Kumar Abhishek, which Grant Morrison Black Label book will you buy? Probably all of them.
Yeah, we'll just read the Black Labels.
Yeah, we're just going to read every Black Label. It's easy to do because they come out so infrequently. Sam Anderson, last time a dick outline was this offensive to people was Robert Plant's tight pants. Google it, kids. Winky face. There you go. You got your joke out there. So, yeah, with that being said, let's jump into...
West Coast Avengers!
Oh, West Coast Avengers! Oh,
I like Wonderful Cat's acting.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Was there any talk of it? No. And it did come out, and I heard it was good.
Yeah. Oh, my God, I didn't see it. I've been having a really hard time using Comixology lately. Like, their listing.
They're really screwing up over there.
My problem is...
Yeah, I don't know.
I totally missed it. Like, I know you missed the Justice League had come out, but I was like, I saw that it came out, but I did not see the Justice League came out, that West Coast Avengers came out, so I'm kind of mad about that myself. I'll have to go back and read that.
I hear you.
Also, I appreciate using that anagram because I also sat here like while you're like talking about things. I was like, wow. World. Who cares about?
Nope, that's not it.
Not enough.
Yeah. So as for recommendations, I'm going to jump in.
Okay, go for it.
Heroes in Crisis #1 comes out. If you want to know what's going on in DC, if you want to know what's going to happen to Wally and Dick and anyone else that Dan DiDio doesn't like, you better read this book. I will because I hate myself, but, not excited for it. Couldn't care less.
Okay.
Good luck with it. It's forgivably short. I think it's going to be like not 20 issues. We'll see.
All right.
I don't know.
What else you got?
Doomsday Clock comes out. There it is. Finally. Forgivably.
Yeah.
Oh, look. It looks like a blue beetle. And a green lantern.
It's a moth.
It is a moth. But it's blue, though.
I know. But it's definitely a moth.
Yeah, it's definitely a moth.
Like, it's unmistakably a moth.
Yeah, but it's blue, though.
Yeah, well, it could be Dr. Manhattan moth. Maybe Dr. Manhattan became a butterfly.
Yeah, like how Bubastis was blue in the movie, but
like
not in the comics.
It's like the moth effect.
Yeah, but Doomsday Clock's coming out. You gotta pick it up. Because it's Doomsday Clock. Come on, man.
Yeah, what's funny is, like, I was just going through my Comixology, because if you use the app, you can download things onto your phone to read, and I saw that I still Doomsday Clock in there, and I was like, better leave that one, because I have to reread it before the next one comes out.
Yeah, because I don't know what the hell happened, because it was like 2 years ago that I last read this book. Let's see. Hush is getting a hardcover, and it looks gorgeous. Ooh. So if you like Hush, or Jim Lee's art, or Batman, you should check it out.
Nice.
Let's see here. Extermination #3 comes out next week. And this series is just really cool. And it's going to get rid of the original 5 X-Men.
Okay.
And set things up so that the X-Men can be relevant and cool again in the Marvel Universe. So, like, if you hate them, read it. If you love them, read it. Because this is what's going to happen to them. We're also teasing a lot of, like, cameos and surprises. I mean, like, young Cable's in there. Ahab attacks in this issue. So... it should be cool. I'm enjoying it. Like, it's one of those, like, I can't believe I'm enjoying it series. Right. Like Extermination and Death of Inhumans. I'm like, what? I like both these series? How bizarre.
What is happening?
Yeah, I don't know. But also, there's a book that I think I would never want to read, but because there was this really cool game that came out that's tying into it, Spider-Geddon #0 is coming out.
Okay.
And it features the first comic book appearance of the video game PS4 Spider-Man.
Okay.
And people are already advocating for him to replace comic book Peter Parker. So, like, get on board, because Marvel will do whatever you want if you give them money for it.
If you yell enough about it.
If you yell enough about it, that's true.
Oh, I didn't see that this was coming out.
Tiffany didn't know this book was on my list, so I'm going to put it on there now.
Yeah.
The Sentry #4 comes out.
Awesome.
Sentry #4. This series is just crazy, and you should read it because it's really good, and it's also a miniseries.
Yes.
If you've been missing the Sentry and you don't want to read a series about the Sentry sitting on a couch, this is the series to pick up.
Nice. Before you get into this one, I'll say that I think Saga's trade paperback #9 is coming out this week. So if you've been trade waiting on this, now is your opportunity to hop in, everybody.
Hop in.
Hop in. This one's kind of more tongue-in-cheek for me that I'm going to recommend.
Okay. Is this the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not really recommending this. This is more or less like, I'm gonna read this, so I might mention it someplace like on Twitter or something. It's called Man-Eaters. It's kind of zoomed in on there, but yeah, it's a ridiculous sounding story about like the fact that like women in this world, like when they are menstruating, turn into cats.
Well, it's they get the disease that you get.
Yeah.
That you can get. It's this weird like.
It's like cat people meets what they say it was a cat people meets something else, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous. It's gonna be over the top. I'm sure. I'm gonna at least check it out because hashtag cats.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Cats for life.
Cats for life. That's it. Also from Image, Cold Spots #2 is coming out. Really like the first issue of this. Very like creepy sort of horror feel. It's by Cullen Bunn. So you know I'm in. Because like I'm like
because he never goes to any cons we meet
but apparently I'm a big Cullen Bunn fan.
You are a huge Cullen Bunn fan,
but like not his like more well-known stuff. Like,
no,
just like you're doing
Monsters Unleashed, hooray.
Totally in for that. Like nice Harrow County Cold Spots. I'm in. It's a miniseries, and the art's really fun. It's very, very stylized by Mark Torres here, but like really great feel, perfect for like Halloween coming up. Just liking this time frame on this book right now.
Yeah.
Edge of Spider-Geddon #4 is coming out. If you have been enjoying these little like spotlights on characters, this one is a Norman Osborn version of Spider-Man. Kind of interesting.
That's nuts.
Kind of a cool,
neat outfit.
Yeah, very neat outfit. Much more spider-like, obviously with the multiple legs here. Interested to see how this goes. Really like the cover. It's kind of what's selling me on it right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll check it out. And then finally from DC, Justice League Dark #3.
This cover is so up your alley. It's not even fun.
So like, oh my god, look at that. Look at it.
This just looks like the rejected Silent Hill 4.
I know. I know. I'm really digging this book. I like the team up, and of course the magic that's going on in it. Like, yeah, sure. Did we see Doctor Strange and dealing with the end of magic in the world? I don't care. Let DC do it too. Who cares? I don't care. That's for sure. And you got these things, these upside down, hangy, creepy mouth things, which is really funny because I was listening to a podcast that's like a couple years old where like it's specialized in something like, you're mentioned something like that.
Oh.
Like these creepy monsters with faces where their eyes should be. And
cool.
I'm like,
yeah, that's up your alley.
Neat. I'm in.
So there you go.
You know I'm in.
Yeah, right? So check that out. Okay, before we go, New York Comic Con is coming up. 2 weeks.
I know, I can't believe that.
If you are going, the meet and greets are going to be at the DC booth.
Yeah,
we will be releasing a map. Not at the DC.
Not at the DC.
We don't have
it's not like
DC
DC's
did not give
us
anything.
No.
Nor do we ask. We're not going to do that.
DC has its area.
DC has a wing in the con.
Yeah.
So if you go to the DC wing, you'll find us.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be like basically DC has like a wall usually full of costumes. But that's like but all the way against the wall is their stuff. Between the wall and the escalators, we will set up a little area, probably by the doors, so you can find us there. We will tweet, Discord, and Facebook out a time, a place, and who's who and who's going to be there. So keep your eyes out for the announcement about the meetups. If we do manage to work out something with a vendor, and we do manage to do something like a signing and a poster sale, because we have a bunch of cool posters that people at Keystone were able to get.
Yes.
We will make that happen. If we can't, then we'll just try and make them available online, because I know we got a couple of new posters that we're really excited to launch out.
Yeah.
They won't be available in New York, but they certainly would be available online if I got my druthers together. So, but keep an eye out for that. And I think those are all the announcements that are fit to print. Besides, are you going to be on a Purple channel later?
Yeah, even though I sound like, I'm going to do it. Yeah.
So good. Okay, cool. Keep your eyes peeled to a Purple streaming channel that does this kind of thing, but for video games. If you were to find it, I'm sure there'll be a link posted by a moderator at some point in the chat if you're watching.
Yep.
But go over there and check it out.
I think in the next 30 minutes?
I think in the next 45 minutes, you'll be playing a video game, probably starring a certain web-spinning wonder.
Thwip.
So check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we will see you guys there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for welcoming us back to the new, improved, it's the same exact show as you've been watching for the last couple of months, but this Author Rack is back, and we are better than ever. We're going to be continuing this trend of doing your live shows, hanging out with you, and doing all of this. We'll see you guys next time with another episode. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Thanks a lot for watching.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.